Thank you for joining me today on Good News with Twanda Black, where we're discovering some of the most inspiring trials to triumph stories and empowerment moments. Call up a friend and let them know it's time for some good news. Welcome to Good News. I'm Twanda Black, your host, and I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy our next guest. Of course, we talk to people in different walks of life all over the world about different things, but it's holiday season. So I wanted to just talk to some of my friends and see what the holiday will bring. All right. So enjoy this next guest. It's good news. All right. And joining us today is GWENDOLYN Robinson. She is owner of Betty Jean's Vintage. And first of all, hello. It's so good to see you.
Hello, Twanda. It's nice to meet you.
So who's Betty Jean?
Actually, Betty Jean is my mother. I named the business after my mother. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, yes. Was she a vintage person? Did she get into antiques and all of that?
When it comes to clothing in the 60s, she rocked. A lot of how I got started was with a purse collection between me and her, the Bakelite, the patent leather, and she's the one that really, really got me geared towards the vintage clothing, and she still rocks today.
Oh, nice. So she's still styling today, huh?
Unbelievably so.
So you decided to start a store. What was that like, and where were you able to get your products from, your clothes from?
Well, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. So majority of the clothing, the coats, the hats, and the purses, I get from Buffalo. I actually travel there a couple times a year, and I haul it back or I ship it back because they have some of the greatest selections, of course, on vintage coats. The clothing still in pristine condition, so I get a lot of it from there. Me being in the booths, I have a couple of different spaces that I'm in. I love it because it's like if you can't afford your own brick and mortar, it's very hard out there. You can have a little representation all over the city of Atlanta. So that allows me to kind of branch out and do that as well.
That is great. And you just mentioned that you have 3 locations. So tell us about the different locations.
Well, this one here is at the market. It's on Bells Ferry 92. And I love it because this is the one that I have majority of my vintage clothing in. And it's from the 50s to the 70s, kind of sort of retro vibe. Mm-hmm. And I also have a garden booth here too. That's kind of like a bohemian retro garden. So I have the greenery, and that's right next door to this booth. So that's what I have here. I have another store that's in Cummings, Georgia, out of the Cedar Chest. And that place is all things vintage. So that's where I have the pottery, the McCoy, the hobnail, the depression glass, all things vintage from maybe like the 1920s up until the 70s. It's all located there. And I love that store as well. I love them all.
You would have to. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody says, vintage is back. I don't think vintage ever went anywhere. Do you?
No, it didn't go anywhere. Just a different generation have to reinvent themselves with it. And they're finding out that it's some of the best furniture, the best quality, things you can't find. If you want to be unique, one of a kind, this is where you come. You come to one of these brick and mortars that has everything under one roof. It's awesome.
It is. And that's what I love about vintage antiquing is that it's going to be so unique. When somebody walks into your home and goes, where did you get that? So talk about being able to curate this type of vintage products. Did you have to do a lot of research to know where something came from, its value, where it is? How do you do that? Talk about your process.
It is, some of it can be a little difficult. When I see something that I think, oh, this is just really, really pretty, that's when I gravitate towards the pretty things. But then I'll flip it over and I'll see a signature or I'll see some marking and I'll go, oh, I got to research that. And it does take a little time to research more of the glassware just to know. And I'm not researching it to put a high ticket price on it. I'm researching it so that I know what it is, so I can let people know what it is, and that they can understand that this has survived 50 to 100 years in beautiful condition, one of a kind, and you can get it as well. because I like people to be able to buy a lot of something instead of just that one item for an outrageous price. If you can keep coming back and buying a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I'd rather have you slowly fill your home with the vintage and antiques opposed to just one item that's just so exorbitant that no one can afford it. So,
I remember my great grandmother had this beautiful old dresser, gorgeous. And the mirrors didn't last in those days because however they made them, it had turned black.
Right.
And when she passed, I asked the family, can I have that dresser? Because she was almost 100 then, and the dresser was at least 50 years old. It was sturdy. It was beautiful. I don't know, where it came from or what the style was or anything, but it was the most gorgeous piece of furniture I'd ever seen. Do you know they tossed that thing out? I never got it. So disappointed.
Yeah, every time I see something on the side of the road or I look at something and I go, you got rid of that? What did you do with that? Well, why didn't you call me first? So it's like, Yeah. Scary moments.
So talk about the holidays, and because for me, I love unique things. I love to get people something that they wouldn't find anywhere else. So talk about what you do during the holiday season.
I don't do anything in particular for the holidays, but I do provide merchandise that people may want to give as gifts throughout the whole year. So one of my booths, I love it because it has the one that said like the Bohemian Garden. There's like bird houses, bird baths, just all kinds of little things that you can put in your yard, garden stakes. So if someone wants to celebrate a holiday,
you got it
if you like.
Yeah. But I understand that you're doing Black Friday sale, like something for Black Friday.
Yes, Black Friday and small business. So that Friday and Saturday, I'll be running a 15% off. Not just one item, but as much as you can grab.
Oh, nice. So I'm seeing behind you hats and purses, is it jackets and old coats? And
oh yeah.
Yes.
You may have to come for a little visit.
Absolutely. Talk about who your client is. Who really comes in to look at vintage pieces, especially the clothing?
Well, not only are the movie people coming to look for the clothing, but I'm finding that when I'm in the booth and I'm working my space, I see a lot of different age ranges. But lately, it seems the younger ones are coming in. They want that unique item. They want that patent leather purse with a Bakelite handle. They want that macrame purse from the 70s. So they're buying a lot of things now, too. They love the vests. They love the old coats. So I'm finding that the market is turning a little younger. So it's been really, really good for that. But we do get a lot of movie people in as well. This is where they come. There's only place you can get the clothing is usually a vintage store.
Right. So are you amazed about how the younger people, because when they come and they say, oh, look at what I got on, and I'm like, child, we wore that in the 70s, or your parents will say, child, we wore that in the 50s, and then everything old is new again.
Right. And I love it. I had one young lady come in, and it was actually, I was just shocked when she had it on. It was a jumpsuit that my mother wore in a dance recital in high school.
Wow.
And my mother finally decided, get rid of it. Let somebody else share, have it. And she had it on and she twirled with that thing and she looked adorable with it. And she's beautiful. But it's interesting to see the young people coming and buying the items and the gloves. They love the gloves. They go up to the arms and they just love it. So it's been good.
So talk about for a moment and I know sometimes people think old is old, but back in the day, they made that stuff to last. It's not cheap. Talk about construction, even of the purses, the clothes, but the furniture as well. Those pieces, because old is not always old.
No, it's interesting because I have clothing behind me that's from the 20s and it's in pristine condition. The 40s, dresses, peplums underneath them, and they're in awesome condition. The stitching, how they stitched in the linings inside the coats. I have coats behind me that have the original lining still in them, and they're over 60, 75 years old. The purses, the constructions, they don't come apart. They're not going to tear up. The furniture is so sturdy. You can, and I understand sometimes if you have a finish on there that's really, really bad and you may have to paint it, but the whole fact is that the furniture has lasted all these years and it's not going to fall apart, and you're not going to have to replace it in 5 or 10 years. You might have to repaint it because you might get tired of it, but it's not going to tear up. So that's the difference with things that are being made today.
It is. And that it's not particle pressed board and it's not going to fall apart, you know.
And you can actually take this out in the rain and you can wipe it off and it'll be okay.
Now that's saying something right there.
Yep.
That is saying something. So you've been doing this for 15 years. Have you seen anything else that you wanted to carry, perhaps, or start another business of vintage, something else? What would it be?
Well, I used to do a lot of painting, so I might get back into painting a little bit more, but like I said, it would have to be the things that are not able to be sanded and salvaged. So Karen, who's helped me with a lot of things, she is into painting, so I'll probably utilize her quite a bit. So yeah, we know who she is.
You're talking about painting furniture, right?
Right, painting furniture.
Yeah, I've seen her work. It's amazing. She takes old stuff and she does the before and after. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. And it looks like a simple process. People think it's so hard, but it's really simple if you know what you're doing and you're using the right materials, right? Right,
exactly. And I want to try the painting of the fabric. She did a couple of painting of the fabric pieces, chairs, and I want to try to do that. So I want to try to do a little bit of that and maybe pop a piece in here and there in the stores.
Nice. Now, is that a fedora back behind you by that red hat?
Of course it is.
That, and you know, that is all the rage right now.
That's quite fedoras, yes.
Yes.
And another thing, I love it when men come in the booth. They go and they get a blazer or they get a overcoat, and I'm just like, yes, men are shopping in here too. So.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So tell us about your hours for the stores, and so we'll know when to come and visit you.
Okay, the market is Monday through Saturday. I'm trying to think. 10 to 7. Sunday 12 to 6. And I think that's about the same for each one of them, actually. The only difference may be is that out of the Cedar Chest and Cummings, they're open 7 days a week, 10 to 7. They are always open.
Okay.
So yeah.
So and it's, I know it's wonderful to see that great mix of people come in to your stores, because you get to meet all different kinds of people.
Yes. It's fun. It's been enjoyable.
So do you have a website, social media, anything where people can reach out for you?
Yes, Betty Jeans Vintage. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I have a website as well. When you hit one, you'll see them all. You can click on the one at Betty Jeans Vintage and everything will pop up. Yeah.
All right, now, Betty Jeans Vintage. We are just so excited that you are in the marketplace. I want to ask you something, though. I was visiting North Georgia and up in the Dalton area.
Yes.
I mean, every step there were antiques, vintage places. Is this sort of a new trend? I mean, I think it's been out there for a while, but it seems like it's so much of it right now.
It is. It used to be just a few here and there, but now they are popping up more and more, and they're usually geared towards like calling themselves like a market kind of a place. So they are incorporating a lot of new with the older. They are popping up everywhere, and we do have a lot of outside markets. Like I even do the Georgia Junkies, and I do one in Gay, Georgia, where it's a weekend event. So
I've been to that one.
The cotton picking. I love that one.
Yes.
I set up at those as well. So I'm all over the place.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they're popping up more and more, and I think people are realizing that this is the way to go.
Totally. If you, again, unique items, something that you're not going to find in the big box stores, you may want to go visit a vintage, especially if you like vintage. I'll tell you what I like about vintage are the dresses. Now, but however, to me, they were just a little small for smaller women. And it's sometimes hard to find a dress.
I have a few.
If you're really?
Oh, yes. I have all sizes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
It is harder to find. It is harder to find, but I do carry all sizes, and I do have some plus size. Yep, for sure.
You gotta think when you look back, 40s and 50s, our women were not skinny.
No.
You know?
So they're clothes somewhere. We just have to find them.
Yeah. All right, now Betty Jean's Vintage, and again, Black Friday, November 26th, and Small Business Saturday sale, November 27th at Betty Jean's Vintage. Tell us again where you're located.
I'm located at the Market in Ackworth, out of the Cedar Chest in Cummings, and I'm also at the Cotton Mill Exchange in Canton, Georgia.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in the next couple of months. I'm so excited to find a new place to shop. Thank you so much for joining us, Gwen.
Thank you for having me, Twanda. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on Good News. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can tap me at Twanda Black at thepgnetwork.org or Good News at thepgnetwork.org. You can watch the show via PGN TV on all of our digital streaming apps or visit pgntv.org. Hey, we'll see you next time for some good news.